Do you consider yourself an insecure leader? And I invite you to pause before you answer that question. Because how often have you overworked, overprepared, overthink? Believing that mastery comes from doing more is what insecure leaders do, even when they're brilliant at what they do. The fact that true mastery is not about working harder, it's about working from a different state of being. Today, I want to explore the path from insecurity to mastery in leadership. And to do that, I want to start by talking about insecurity. And this is a part of us that we don't like to show to others and that let us believe we are not enough. It whispers in our ears all day long. What if they find out you're not as good as they think? What if you fail? What if you're not ready? I have met so many leaders operating from this behavior, from this shadow, and it can take you to two paths. Either you overcompensate by working harder, micromanaging, or over-explaining everything you do, or you hold back, avoiding visibility, avoiding raising your hand for the next promotion, avoiding taking risks altogether. And you know what? I've been there. I remember a time when I felt like I had to prove my worth every single day. It was exhausting. I'd over prepare for presentations. I triple check my work and hold myself to impossible standards, believing that if my work wasn't perfect, I wasn't enough. The truth about insecurity is that it doesn't matter how much you achieve. If you don't address the root cause of this feeling, of this emotion, you always are going to feel like you need to continue to prove yourself. It never ends. So how do you move beyond this? How do you get into the point in your life when you feel like you're enough? Great leaders don't cling to expertise. They embrace adaptability. And adaptability to pivot, to learn, to adapt. True leadership isn't about having all the answers. And you've heard me say that many times. It's about being able to respond intelligently, but using your IQ, your EQ, and your SQ to tackle whatever comes your way, to be able to weather the storm that's coming, because you know it's coming. Think about the best leaders that you've had or you've seen. They are not rigid, they are flexible. They're willing to experiment, to play around, to learn and pivot without panicking, instead of getting stuck in the old patterns, the old ways of doing things. The thing is that the ego wants to appear competent and certain. But real confidence comes from trusting yourself to figure things out. I remember when I was in engineering school, the very first day of 5 years of college, a professor told us that we didn't come to learn how to be engineers. We come to learn how to figure out things. And that has been by far the most valuable lesson I got from college. You don't need to know it all. You don't need to know everything, but you need to know how to solve problems and how to get out of pickles. I invite you to ask yourself, what is one area that you're being too rigid in your leadership? Because let's be honest, there's some things that you naturally do good, and there's some things that you're probably struggling or pushing too hard or trying to be like others. And those are the ones that you probably need to let go a little bit of the control. And what would it look like if you were to be a little more adaptable? So what happens when you fully embody this adaptability, this flexibility? And that's when mastery in leadership comes in. Mastery isn't about effort. It's about flow. At the highest level, and here's the twist. True mastery doesn't come from relentless effort. I thought it did, but it doesn't. It comes from a place of deep inner trust. Mastery feels like you no longer overthink. You just know. And you trust what you know. You don't hustle. You move with effortless impact. You no longer need external validation. You lead from within. Imagine a leader who walks in a room and before they even speak, people can feel their presence. That's mastery. They aren't trying to impress anybody. They already know their worth. They listen, they observe, and when they speak, if they do it with certainty, clarity, and confidence. So, how do we start shifting towards this level of leadership? I was lucky, fortunate, blessed to have a mentor who embodied these qualities. His presence was masterful. And every time he spoke, he commanded the room without raising his voice, without making a fade, without making anyone feel less than. So, after having that luxury to have a mentor to teach me how to become that person, I want to share with you some practical tips that you can implement yourself. If you're ready to move from insecurity to mastery, here are some things that you can do. First, you want to recognize what and where is this insecurity that's holding you back. You've heard me say this 100,000 times, and there's going to be a million more. Awareness is everything. You need to know, how is this displaying? Are you overworking? Are you overthinking? Are you playing small? Are you putting others down? Then you need to embrace versatility. The time of the polymath is coming. There used to be the time where you need to be very good at one thing and only one thing. And I have been a rebel from that school for a long time. I consider myself a polymath. I know a lot of things. And I don't need to be the smartest person in each or every of those things. Some things I am, but not because I have a team of people who can be experts. My job as a leader is to be able to manage an array of different talents. So when you embrace versatility, you start seeing your leadership journey as that, as an evolution, not as a point in time performance. And then the presence. You got to cultivate your presence because true mastery isn't about control, it's about trust. People need to trust you when you speak, when you give direction, when you cast vision. So, what is one small shift you can make today to step into greater mastery in your leadership? Leadership is not about proving yourself, it's about trusting yourself. And when you do that, everything changes. So if you love this episode, please share it with some of your fellow leaders. Subscribe to the podcast so you can have more leadership insights, and let's connect on LinkedIn. Until next time, don't forget to lead intentionally.